Plenty of opportunities, but also plenty of risks out there. I think that's what one needs to take into account when investing into the more risky assets. Of course, the recuperation potential is always there, but one needs to look at volatility and the risk of it being exhausted and turning for the negative again. At this stage, we are indeed holding 18% cash, and that is mainly because the opportunities in the bond space are actually quite limited at this stage. And that is for a good cause. Looking at the US, I think the bonds have clearly been a safe haven in the last correction, but that safe haven might turn for the worse again, and that makes cash the more attractive one. Clearly, one needs to make the judgment whether one needs to be in cyclical or in defensive stocks, and there we take a bit of a mixed approach, making sure that we are there when the markets go up, but that we don't suffer too much when it goes down.
Tell me about this fixed income there's not much more upside scenario, because those of us who've been concerned about these stunningly low rates for a long time keep seeing them getting lower and going negative, and anything that's got a chunky yield left, or relatively chunky yield left in the fixed income space, it seems to be is being bought the bejesus out of.
Well, there is a bit of yield chasing, I think, that's clear, but one needs to be and to remain objective onto what the risks are involved. We see some potential in emerging market debt because of the dollar going down, commodities picking up, and as such emerging market currencies picking up as well. But one should not exaggerate on that, because there is a risk of these commodities being at this low level and causing a lot of risks out in the corporate and in the bond space of governments in emerging markets. So yield chasing is fine, but one needs to remain aware of the risks that are involved when one does it.
Bruno, what's your view now on negative interest rates? We've been musing about the impact now after the ECB, but you've still got a lot of countries across Europe that are embracing this type of policy. Do you think it is now the end game for negative rates, or is there still more work or more room for other central banks to explore this territory?
Well, I believe the smart thing that the ECB did with the last move is that they protected the banks, because the risk of negative interest rates is a silent bank run that people take out their cash, put it under the mattress and sit on it. I believe what the next step would be is clearly a demand-driven action. This is clearly supply. You can put as much credit in the market as you want, but if there's no appetite to invest and no appetite to pick up the loans, nothing will happen. And that is unfortunately something that is beyond the central bank's action, that needs structural reform to get that appetite for investing back. And that is what is needed now, and that is the only next step, I believe, which is there.